Hi guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about goddesses, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not real versed in it, but one of my viewers asked me to try to explain it a little bit and talk a little bit about my goddess. So I'm going to be honest with you. I've been practicing for about 34 years and I never had a deity. My belief was that there's a source of energy and that we were all a spark of that source, that we all had energy in us and therefore energy can't die, so we all return to the source from which we came. Now I still have that belief, I still hold that belief, but I do believe that there are deities that are a large part of that source that kind of come to us and are guiding us at the times we need it. And I still think they are part of that source, and I think that at this moment the part of that source that is guiding me because I needed them, because I'm going through a large change in my life, a transition that is a bit of an upheaval, I have been going through transition for about the last 3 years, is Hecate. And I believe she came to me, and not that I went seeking her. And I do very much believe that she's working with me and that I'm worshiping her. And yes, I still believe there's a large source that is the God energy. I may pick up some shade for that, but that's my belief. As far as goddesses go, they are a deity that is usually associated with war or beauty or sex or fertility or all of the above. Hecate herself is the goddess of witchcraft, necromancy, beauty, war. She kind of encompasses all of it. Goddesses come in many different areas. Like there's Greek goddesses, there are Egyptian goddesses, and Roman goddesses. They're from all over. African goddesses, they're from all over. So there's a huge array of goddesses. I could pull them all up on the internet and list all the names, but that would be grueling, first of all, and second of all, it's easy to do. So, you know, anybody could do that for themselves. You can also find history of each goddess. I'm sorry, my hair is tickling me. I don't have the itchies, my hair is just tickling me. You can find the history for each goddess by searching the internet. I think I showed on one of my videos, I believe it might have been a live, but it might have been a recorded, how Hecate kind of showed herself to me, revealed herself to me. I've been having clues and so on for over a year. I was very, I'm trying to find the right wording. I was very blinded to those clues because, as I said, I've never had a deity, god or goddess, because I was very closed-minded when it came to that. I was very one-sided, sighted. I did not believe in any way, shape, or form that the God energy would. I was blinded by Christianity, and I allowed myself to be. So that was an ignorance I had of my own. And once all these signs kept coming to me, I started delving into goddesses and gods. And I started really reading up on things. And I started opening myself up to the possibility. And I had misunderstood the signs and thought maybe this was the Morgan trying to come to me. Morrigan trying to come to me, and started watching a lot of videos on that and got some real negative reaction. So realized this probably wasn't the Morrigan. So I just sat back and didn't pay it any attention anymore. And then I started having dreams, and I started having signs again, and I started. So I read some more, and I started believing this was Hecate. And the more I read, the more I believed it was Hecate. So at one point, and I had dreams. So at one point I said, okay, if this is Hecate, I need a clear sign, a sign that I'm not going to be able to argue, because I will. It's just my personality, I'll argue it. So my dog, which I think everybody's pretty well seen in videos, Rosie, is an older golden retriever who does not get on the bed because she's heavy and she's old. That day, the night I went to bed, I asked for a clear sign. The next day, Rosie got on my bed. Of her own volition and her own ability, which you have to understand, she can't do that on her own. I usually have to help her, but she did. So that happened, and I was like, could be, but I don't think so. I don't think that's it, because that's just too simple. That couldn't be it. So the day went on. A couple of things happened that day. I don't remember them well, because it was really simple things that made me go, no, can't be it, can't be it. Well, that night around midnight, about 8 or 9 o'clock, I lit, maybe 10, I lit a candle for my ancestors, because I was doing some workings. And at about midnight, somewhere in there, midnight, 1 o'clock, 11, somewhere in that time frame, my candle on my ancestor altar exploded. It didn't explode, it split right in half. Almost a clean break, just a little bit of a jagged. And literally the top, now this is a 7-day candle. Literally the top just bloop, fell right off, ruined my altar cloth. The wax did, but it just fell right over. That was a sign I could not argue with. So from that moment on, I believed it was Hecate, and I began working with Hecate and worshiping Hecate and having an altar to Hecate, and so that is how I came upon a goddess, and that's the only way I came upon a goddess. When I was first starting to delve into Wicca, which I did in the very beginning for a little bit, a very little short time, Scott Cunningham talked a lot about, in his book, A Practical Guide to Wicca, I think it was. He talked about Diana, and I don't know if it was him that talked about it or if I had just heard about Pan. So I kind of looked into them a little bit, but I never really picked up a deity. Never. So this was my first experience. This is my first experience. So I really can't talk a lot about personal experience, but I can give you that gist of information that I gave you. Let me see, I did have a page open to kind of get goddesses have been linked with virtues, motherhood, love, fertility, creation, death. They usually hold a central place in religion or prayer or worship. Yeah, lots of different sects: Greek, Roman, Hinduism, African, Egyptian. Anyway, they're all over. Almost every country and every area of each country has their own goddess and god. So, whereas, Hinduism may have their own, some other part, like Tibet has their own. Tibet has Buddha, or the Buddha, whereas Hinduism has many. They have the Buddha, but they also have Ganesh, Shakti, and they have many others. I can't remember of the name. It's right on the tip of my tongue, and I'm losing it. But they have many other. So that's about as versed as I am in it. And as I said, I'm still learning. I'm still very much a student, and I'm still reading. So I hope that helped a little bit, Zeth, with what you needed to know. And if you have any other questions, please go ahead and ask me. I will be very willing to do as much research as possible to answer your question. And I hope you all have a very wonderful night. Light. You are light. I do want to say one more thing. You'll always hear me at the end of my videos say the same thing. You are divine, sacred beings of light and love. And I want to explain a little bit about why I say that. Divine literally means God, part of God, the God source. And I do believe we are all a spark of God. We all are energy, and when we die, we return to that source. I believe that with everything in me. And so you are all divine. You are all sparks of energy that belong to the source. So I believe that. You're all divine. Sacred, again, is important as God. And I believe that. I believe that you are all just as sacred as I am, as God is, as each other are, because we are all God. We are all part of God. We are all divine, sacred beings of light. Light being the energy, and love being the ultimate secret to the universe. And I believe that with everything in me. So that being said, please have a wonderful night. And remember, you're all divine, sacred beings of light and love. And have a good evening.